I'ma call her Miss Purdy. Nigga try to blitz, I'm going 730. I'ma shake the whole room like Big Shirty. Nigga say one war, it's whatever, buddy. Glock fully loaded, you know these letters bloody. Come for me, you a bitch, homie. Boy, I'm realer than your big homie. 144, yeah, the one and only. And you know I keep this blick on me. Body slam you like Mick Foley. I got that black out on my arm, play that bitch like a violin. Say me try me once, nigga, try again. You know my position, I'm on standby. Ain't no competition, it's a landslide. Or you a rider, motherfucker, ride again. You said you slide on them, nigga, slide again. Niggas claim they hot, but we been fire. If they ain't one of mine, so they anti. Or you a rider, motherfucker, ride again. You said you slide on them, nigga, slide again.
Yeah.
Cop desire, build the beat up.
My title ring bells, I'm quick to put up a fight. Your dark sayings ain't enough, no throwing shade, but they light. You know the shark by the fin, but know the strength by the bite. They talking all damn day, ain't got no dog in the fight. Dry bones in the valley, found a body in the alley. Tuck Balenciaga's too heavy, track it down and follow up a brief second. They want me down, they want me broke, they want me keep stressing. My man smoking on that dope, he said he sleep better. I'm trying to knock this lid off, I go through each level. There's no response, a head nod, I make her feel special. You go against me, I push back cause I don't feel pressure. This ain't a gimmick, I'm about business, I'm a real member, real problem solver to the roof. Off your demons, man, I do this too often. It's a coffin after every verse. Watch their hands, they double dealing. Shorty stripping on the day of rest, but next day in the church, man, this shit hurt. Grandmama watch a kid, she love them, they don't listen to her. Pops running in the street, the fast life is getting torn. Section 8 in the poor section of the city, made the best out of it. Mr. Iced Tea with the whiskey, we gon' hit diamonds. Keep digging, keep climbing, listen loudly, speak silent. My youngin', he need guidance, curses running bone deep. Been struggling this whole week, this ain't sweet. Thought he was riding, but he is slowly. My pop told me do what you do, and just be a man about it. If you start building up something, you gotta stand by it. I fell in love with this progress, destroyed the build process. Thoughts from a hustler, an economic mindset, iconic stroll. Gotta meet my goal before the sunset. They always say it's someone better, and I ain't met that one yet. Life is just a game, I'm on a winning streak, who want next? I peeped the whole setup, flipped the script, and now they upset. Only came for mine, I took the time and left the extras in the whoop-de-whoop. Chain my fruity loose, they come to take your breakfast. Being honest is not an option, you a bitch, I'm being modest. Co-sign to stand by you, too on point to stand by me. Drive my hot wheel like a Johnny, that's the truth. I'm a lion running loose, I'm a giant to the moon, that's where I take it. And that's word to this war scarf, I'm there before the war start. Word to leave your whole mind polluted, keep a pure heart. I'm hands on, I ain't caught up. This shit hitting like a bad kid, got an ear, let them hear. I better duck like Donald, I picked up cause all the violence, plus I'm hated cause I'm honest. Real niggas, none left, one west is where you find us. You a spark, I'm atomic, Noah's Ark, just flow with me. Lost a few but gained plenty, flipped it off the same penny. I feel like the chase for the cloud is the new opiate. Won't associate with no divas to feel appropriate. I shine bright and it's not ice, but they notice it. Still controlling shit overloaded, but this that soldier shit. I'm on top, used to want the top, but now I'm over it. Compare me to your childhood trauma. I'm here to make you feel in love like when your pop left mama. Mary J was the result, I know they don't want drama. Man, I just wife Karma, and she got a great future behind her. But I'm bored with all this picky saluting and all the picking and choosing. Yeah, bro, when you know it, he losing. You created a fake beat, and that's impossible. Edibles, Christ-like, so I whoop ass. Let's keep it professional. My mind dark with a spark. I'll leave you a vegetable. Stats incredible. Circle is skeptical. Sketchy slither figure niggas. I'm the roughest. If you tryna get technical, I made a deal with myself. The only deal with myself, and on the real, I kept that shit all the way real with myself. Yeah.
Cop desire, build the beat up.
My title ring bells, I'm quick to put up a fight. Your dark sayings ain't enough, no throwing shade, but they light. You know the shark by the fin, but know the strength by the bite. They talking all damn day, ain't got no dog in the fight. Dry bones in the valley, found a body in the alley. Tuck Balenciaga's too heavy, track it down and follow up a brief second. They want me down, they want me broke, they want me keep stressing. My man smoking on that dope, he said he sleep better. I'm tryna knock this lid off, I go through each level. There's no response ahead, now to make her feel special. You go against me, I push back cause I don't feel pressure. This ain't a gimmick, I'm about business, I'm a real member, real problem solver to the roof. Off your demons, man, I do this too often. It's a coffin after every verse. Watch their hands, they double dealing. Shorty stripping on the day of rest, but next day in the church, man, this shit hurt. Grandmama watching kids, she love them, they don't listen to her. Pops running in the street, the fast life is getting torn. Section 8 in the poor section of the city, made the best out of it. Mr. Iced Tea with the whiskey, we gon' hit diamonds. Keep digging, keep climbing, listen loudly, speak silent. My youngin', he need guidance, curses running bone deep. Been struggling this whole week, this ain't sweet. Thought he was riding, but he is slowly. My pop told me do what you do, and just be a man about it. If you start building up something, you gotta stand by it. I fell in love with this progress, destroyed the build process. Thoughts from a hustler, an economic mindset, iconic stroll. Gotta meet my goal before the sunset. They always say it's someone better, and I ain't met that one yet. Life is just a game, I'm on a winning streak, who want next? I peeped the whole setup, flipped the script, and now they upset. Only came from mine, I took the time and left the extras in the whoop-de-whoop. Chain on Fruity Loops, they come to take your breakfast. Being honest is not an option, you a bitch, I'm being modest. Co-signer, stand by you, two on point to stand by me. Drive my Hot Wheel like a Johnny, that's the truth. I'm a lion running loose, I'm a giant to the moon, that's where I take it. And that's word to this war scarf, I'm there before the war start. Word to leave your whole mind polluted, keep a pure heart. I'm hands on, I ain't caught up. This shit hitting like a bad kid, got an ear, let him hear. I better duck like Donald, I picked up cause all the violence, plus I'm hated cause I'm honest. Real niggas, none left, one west is where you find us. You a spark, I'm atomic, Noah's Ark, just flow with me. Lost a few but gained plenty, flipped it off the same penny. I feel like the chase for that cloud is the new opiate. Won't associate with no divas to feel appropriate. I shine bright and it's not ice, but they notice it. Still controlling shit overloaded, but this that soldier shit. I'm on top, used to want the top, but now I'm over it. Compare me to your childhood trauma. I'm here to make you feel in love like when your pop left mama. Mary J was the result, I know they don't want drama. Man, I just wife Karma, and she got a great future behind her. But I'm bored with all this picky saluting and all the picking and choosing. Yeah, bro, when you know when he losing, you created a fake beef, and that's impossible. Edibles, Christ-like, so I whoop ass. Let's keep it professional. My mind dark with a spark. I'll leave you a vegetable. Stats incredible. Circle was skeptical. Sketchy slither figure niggas. I'm the roughest. If you tryna get technical, I made a deal with myself. The only deal with myself, and on the real, I kept that shit all the way real with myself.
Okay, I'm 10 foot tall when I'm standing on business. I'm 10 foot tall when I'm standing on business. I'm 10 foot tall when I'm standing on business. If you a real nigga, maybe you can stand with me. Stand up. Okay, we standing on business. Ain't no such thing as limits. You want it, you go and get it. Stand up. Okay, we standing on business. If you a real nigga, maybe you can stand with me. Cause on the mission, my niggas stand at attention. Everything is in order, no moving without permission. I came up out the trenches with nothing but good intentions. A hustle to go and get it, cause winning is my religion. Destroying my competition, and they don't know what happened to them. Stop achieving our goals and start achieving platinum. Infinity and countless, stay flowing just like a fountain. No doubt I'm betting 1,000, I'm talking about moving mountains. Stay on point like a scale, only time will tell. If the goal ain't about victory, you done already failed. Stop building somebody else's dreams, build it yourself. A grindaholic, my next day off a cold day of hell. Let me talk to him, real talk. Let me talk to him, real talk. Let me talk to him, real talk. Let me talk to him. This is real talk, homeboy. Real talk, homeboy. Real talk, homeboy. Real talk, homeboy. Come here a minute, let me talk to y'all and show you just how you post the ball. When your back is up against the wall, keep your eyes on your enemies and the one you call your dog. Real talk. Mama was 15 when she had me, and I ain't gon' even talk about my daddy. Accepted the ghetto and took it gladly. Learn how to be a man from Troy, Butter, and Caddy. And Fred too. That was my mama husband. He showed me how to work hard, but I was steady thugging. By 15, I'm plugged in. Second generation of niggas that's out here doing things they ain't got no business. I'm a living, breathing witness that you can make it up out these streets if you just change your life and ask for forgiveness. Got a story about repentance, but I'll just tell it later, cause I know y'all rather hear about my hoes and my haters, my trials and tribulations on the road to this paper, and whether or not I sit a couple niggas to they maker. I never give them what they want, I give them what they need, cause life is more than money, hoes, and a bag of weed. This one right here for my niggas coming after me. I watch the demise of my guys kinda rapidly from butter felony. Big Trill, that nigga Grizz. Hot dog ain't up on murder laugh, left me in tears. Listen, every nigga in the hood got guns. It's no wonder why my niggas in the hood die young. But it's only a few of us make it out. All who try to take advantage of niggas get taken out quick. A round trip from the joint. Now when you coming home 10 years later and the same shit going on. Now your kids grown and you miss half their life. And them niggas you used to hang out with done stabbed your wife. It sound trifling, please don't shoot the messenger. Man, I'm just telling you that this life will teach you a lesson, bruh. Niggas selling crack to they mama to pay them bills off. I know you love them fantasy rappers, but this is real talk, real talk. Let me talk to them, real talk. Let me talk to them, real talk. Let me talk to them, real talk. Let me talk. This is real talk, homeboy. Real talk, homeboy. Real talk, homeboy. Real talk, homeboy. Come here a minute, let me talk to y'all and show young jits how you post the ball when your back is up against the wall. Keep your eyes on your enemies and the one you call your dogs. Real talk. Shouts out to my big brother. Real talk. Go. Son of Sam. Real and talk. His big brother, the one man Taliban. Real talk. Let me talk. This is real talk. 205, Ray, let me talk, butter, real talk, hot dog, Big Trill, real talk, later, man, everybody gone, this is real talk.
Fuck what them bitches gotta say. I'm a West nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't give a love fuck what them niggas gotta say. I'm a West nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't care about what they say. Hey. Fuck with my Akima, fuck with my sisters, then I got a problem, I'm never gon' miss you. I got 100 hanging out the AR, I got a 50 hanging out the pistol. He say it's corner, I'm just being realistic. I be on them corner posted with the realest. If it's the Sabbath, then we going fishing. I'm reeling them in, that's a God-given mission. I'm really on 10, but I'm stamped in the pistol. I get the order, be glad of this mission. Hebrew Academy graduate, nigga. Training, go through the baddest conditions. I don't fuck with none but the baddest of bitches. She righteous, submissive, she glad to be with me. Had that thing Putin like that, man. Niggas, she know I'm a prophet, she glad to be listening. Disrespect, I ain't having that shit. Tell her go make some business from scratch. She bitchin' a different breed of black man. We don't do the back thing. I remember back when I was really trapping, trying to get the racks in, selling dope to black men. But now I'm trying to make it straight. Like, forget about my face. We standing up straight, can't fold us. Too heavy, the world won't hold us. Go get you some rank, I told you. Line up in these ranks, we sold you. You can take that to the bank, we focus on. How many times must we remind you? One body, one way, some break off, but never take off as a face. When the law with you ain't no up next, it's just us, nigga, that's that on that. All that weak shit, that ain't no threat. Say you won't beat, bitch, with that ain't no sweat. We with all that, we with all that. The Lord called a nigga out the world, I responded and called back. Oh Lord, and everything that they stole from us, fuck that shit, we want all that. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come under command and general, your honor, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's that's why we unaffiliated with them. That's why we unaffiliated with them. I cannot fuck around with fake niggas. We taking ground when we in your city. You better have the women, have the liquor. Keep that bitch on me, please don't butt the system. Don't be a fool and be another victim. Say you a goon, you just another Christian. How you my brother, you ain't in here with me. We in the gutter, deep down in the trenches. We with them niggas locked up in the prison. Fucking Hispanic, Native American, Indian. We ain't just talking shit, but we living in it. We be everywhere, you can't miss it. And we be precious hell, take a picture. And we professional with the scriptures. Play, we gon' script them, yeah, we some killers. These niggas tripping, they mind blown. Well, business, forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't get it pause when niggas say that they be looking for niggas to slide on. The slide that I know about is when I assemble the group with the slide for real. I get the order, you know that it's slaughter. See me and my niggas gon' die for kill. The bigger the better for kingdom of heaven. You niggas get wet up by me cause I'm fed up. I rep UPK. My niggas won't let up. Got choppers, got 9s, AKs, Berettas. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like bitch and whatever. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like. My nigga like them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come under command and general, your hunter, we unaffiliated with them. Like when they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. See, they always ask us like, why y'all fuck with such and such? Why y'all won't come together with such and such? I be like, we unaffiliated with them. You understand me? Like, niggas be out here on some weirdo shit. And to be honest, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Hey, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah.
Yeah, you could bring us in. Yeah. All that music legitimately that you heard, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning of the intro of this show is all dropping on Tribe Vibes. 3 out of the 4 songs or 5 songs you heard, I produced personally.
Fire.
Mixed 4 of them. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to Tribe Vibes to get, you know what I'm saying, the earliest. You want me to lower it? Just ask me to lower it. It's all right. This all right. Communication is key, my brother. Shout out to Kazak Damar. You know what I'm saying? That real talk I produced for my brother, Lost Tribes South. Yo, speaking of Lost Tribes, you know what I'm saying? If y'all don't know, just so y'all know, the official Lost Tribes t-shirts are dropping next week. You know what I'm saying?
Them joints is fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Silk.
You know what I'm saying? We got joints on the sleeve, all that. Oh, I forgot to show you. Oh, hold on. We got the back. Oh yeah.
And the inside tag, dope.
All that.
Dope.
You know what I'm saying? So those will be going
Genius.
on sale. Most High in Christ. Those will be going on sale next week.
How
also,
can they put an order in?
You could put an order in on Join Tribe Vibes. I'll be sharing the link around. Also, the shirts, you could buy it separately or you could buy a bundle. And what I mean by a bundle is you can get a discount on subscribing to Tribe Vibes, and you can get all the music, all the videos, you know what I'm saying, early before they're released. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what we got. Who's with us tonight, man? We got Adolphus Last, you know what I'm saying? Rakaya Sads. Let me see who's with us, man. Duran Charles, any schools in Florida, Captain? I live in West Palm. Matter of fact, yeah. You Kazak Damar, man, tap in with Duran Charlius. We over in Boynton. We all over in South Florida as well. You know what I'm saying? Tap in with Kazak Damar, he'll get you right. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. We got Tawabath Gad. You know what I'm saying? She on the roster for producers for Lost Tribes. Let me see. Antisocial 214 Texas. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nakawan too. No affiliation. We are not affiliated. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, homeboy. Let me see. Who the hell we sharing? Raka Arya. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody. Omar Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? Captain Dabaramoth, my man, Mika. She's just Mika. Let me stop. Let me leave you alone, Mika. Phone lines are wide open. 917-779-9499. It's 917-779-9499. Or if you want to jump on the chat, there was somebody on the live earlier, wasn't there? They still there? They dropped off. You know what I'm saying? You could also join the live stream. Either way is cool with us. Marcus Butler, how Jesus only died for Israel. Call up and find out. You know what I'm saying?
Call up or join that live stream.
See, am I missing anything else or anybody else that usually be on here with us? Just art and paint. You know what I'm saying? Avis, Shalom. Joseph B. Jr., you know what I'm saying? Listen, y'all can call up or drop a super chat. We only answer questions from the super chat, or if you call up, you know what I'm saying? Call up on the line. Mika laughing. I'm gonna let you make it, Mika. I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm born again. You know what I mean? Remix. I decided to just, you know, Sister Manaima, another familiar name. I'm turning over a new leaf, man. Just don't care no more. Let me see what else we got. Cap, could you touch on the new doctrine that hell of fire is not America? Call up, man. Call up with y'all questions. Call up. Phone lines is wide open. My main man, 50 grand, Officer 5000, Mod the Bar, Shalom, Lord in Christ. You know what I'm saying? And they said, well, I like the music. We like the music too. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be cooking up. You know what I mean? We got a lot of new music dropping. You know what I'm saying? And the Knicks is up, baby.
Let's go.
Listen, man, don't tell Cap. I'm watching right now. We up right now, yo. Knicks is up by 16. Let's go. Yeah. Outside of that, I'm so tired of this Diddy case. I want y'all to know that. I think the new big thing going on that everybody's obsessed with is Papoose and Remy sidebar. I don't care what none of y'all say. Remy still loved that man. I seen how she packed his clothes. You can't tell me she don't care. I ain't like she packed his clothes like a serial killer with the neatness in perfectly little bags. They looks like everything was sized and color coordinated. You know what I'm saying? And it was all, first of all, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that, DA. You know what I mean? And you put a K in front of the N and it's Knickerbockers to you. Let me stop messing with you, man. I don't care about the Knicks like that, but I might go crazy if they win this game. You know what I'm saying? But what else is going on? Oh, yeah. So I'm telling you, man, like, I know Remy's still in love with him, but this is one of them instances where, like, even the women aren't siding with Remy. Like, we know she's the problem. Yeah, I mean, and that goes out to, like, you know what I'm saying, just brothers everywhere. When it goes down to brothers everywhere, man, take your time. A woman is either going to be an asset or a liability. And you need to take your time and have an asset by your side. And it's not somebody who's going to try to tear you down. You know what I mean? Or you can just get you like a Carisha Shields who could knock out your ex. Let me stop. I'm just kidding. We don't advocate for violence.
Bing, bing.
But it's clear that you know what I'm saying, Pap got a type, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Pap. He a good dude. Definitely the proof that you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. I seen some funny shit online, too, where they was like... It was like, this is the proof why you leave your girl if she goes to jail. Don't do that. But that tickled me to my soul. You know what I'm saying? But it really be a shame that celebrities, you know what I'm saying, they're not leaders. Unfortunately, they are role models.
Sadly. And
our role models, you know what I'm saying, are not good. You know, I say this all the time, right? You never seen Jackie Chan play a villain ever. Like, name me, out of all the movies Jackie Chan has done, name me a movie where he plays a villain. Can't find it. And you know what I'm saying? And the reason as to why that you're not going to find it is because Jackie Chan knows something. The Asian community knows something that we don't. you're not supposed to come over to the West. You're not supposed to come over to America. You're not supposed to, you know what I'm saying, come to the Round Eye and ruin your people's reputation. You know what I'm saying? Like they know that there's power inside the media. You know what I'm saying? They know that, you know what I'm saying, they know that you're supposed to present yourself in a proper manner. That's why there's certain movies that even when they go overseas, if they feel as if Asians aren't being represented properly, the movie either doesn't get played or they get cut out completely. They cut out all them scenes because they're not going to turn around and poison the minds of their people through media, because images have power. You know what I'm saying? And that's why when you look at what goes on, you know what I'm saying, with us, every Black and Latino is a drug dealer, a gang member, and the only time that they get honor, the only time that they get respect, or we get respect as a people, is when we serving in the military. You know what I'm saying? Is when we're the Red Tails, is that Cuba Gooding Jr. movie, you know what I'm saying, where they calling him Cookie and he losing a leg for America. You know what I mean? Like, those are the only times that we turn around and get put in, or when we the goddamn butler. So when you look at, you know what I'm saying, all of that, like collectively, every Black, Latino, and Native Indian, when they make it to some level of you know what I'm saying, fame, you, whether you like it or not, you know what I'm saying, but by default, have become a role model. And people are now looking up to you. And that's why, like, listen, I don't try to give people too much credit in the world, but I did see something too over the last week that I liked. You know what I'm saying? And y'all saw what was up with Kai Cenat and his streaming university. I think we talked about this last week a little bit, but like, first of all, they said, yeah, they said Kai Cenat got a school open before Dr. Umar. That took me smooth out.
He had dorm rooms, like a whole cafeteria where they eat. It was crazy.
Yo, he invested $3 million, you know what I'm saying, in order to get that off. And not only, like, he did two things that I loved. The first thing was he turned down money from all, you know what I'm saying, the major, you know what I'm saying, distributors. I think Netflix, Prime, you know what I'm saying, they all reached out to him. And then, if you paid attention, it was only our people in those classes. You know what I'm saying? Like, to the point where a white streamer was like, I ain't see no white people. All I saw was Black people. And if a white person was to do that and the roles were reversed, like, you know, like crying at reverse racism, you know what I'm saying? Like crying, just, you know what I'm saying? Just crying. And I think I think that that's a beautiful thing. And he would have lost his control, you know what I'm saying, over his show if he would have took money from any of them. Like if Prime or if Netflix would have been involved, you know what I'm saying, they would have wanted to gentrify that. And there was a lot of things that I saw too that was extremely positive. They taught a class on how, like, to have money and not trick on women. And unfortunately, your generation needs that. And it's like, and I seen this post where they were talking about how, like, NBA players and NFL players need that, you know what I'm saying, to not get finessed out of their money. And that's something that, you know what I'm saying, you definitely deal with. One, you know what I'm saying, not dealing with a trifling woman to end up marrying a Remy Ma. You know what I mean? Or to the point where, you know what I'm saying, learning how to conduct yourself in certain areas and teaching professionalism, you know what I'm saying, in that field. Now, Kai Cenat's in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like should he have a prophet in his corner coaching him on how to do certain things and be really media trained and serve the Most High? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But as far as, it's an excellent paradigm right now, you know what I'm saying, that a young brother would want to not only give his knowledge to his people, but primarily to his people first. And that's what we got to do across the board. You were going to say something?
I actually had a scripture when you were talking about Jackie Chan and his reputation.
Is that on? Okay.
Yeah. The scripture was Proverbs 22:1.
Mm-hmm.
A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. And the whole point of that was how you were speaking about, with Jackie Chan, how he never plays a villain. He's never seen in a bad or negative light, especially towards his people, because his name, his reputation of all the things he's done is worth more than any amount of money.
I don't know why your mic seems low.
Check.
That's better. Which one is that?
Check.
This is line 3. 3? Yeah, talk.
Check. 1, 2. What the white man is the devil.
Okay, I could live with that.
So that's a very fitting scripture, but we need to apply that for ourselves.
You know what I mean? Listen, I'm 100% with you on that. Mr. Slick said all women are gold diggers. Yo, women's I'm gonna tell you something. I'm okay with women being gold diggers. You know what I'm saying? I'm not okay with a man being dumb enough to deal with a woman who only is with him for his money. You know what I mean? Like the scripture says that where is it in Ecclesiasticus where it talks about, you know what I'm saying, one daughter's better than another? You know what I mean? And the whole point of that scripture is that a man cannot pick a woman how a woman picks a man. It says that a woman will receive all men. You got it?
Ecclesiasticus chapter 36, verse 21. A woman will receive every man.
Yeah, a woman will receive every man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think you got game. And to the women who don't, to the men who don't got game, this is pretty bad for you. You know what I'm saying? A woman will receive any man. You know what I mean, Gad?
Yet is one daughter better than another.
But one daughter is better than another, meaning that when it comes down to these women, right? Like a woman picking a man because, you know what I'm saying, she likes his arms, you know what I'm saying, because she likes the car that he drives. You as a man cannot pick a woman for that. You can't pick a woman just because she got a big backside. You can't pick a woman, you know, what do they say? Never trust a big butt and a smile.
Never trust a big butt.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that as a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a man, you have to actually vet a woman and find a woman who's actually going to, and it's only the women, you know what I'm saying? Like, who you probably just, one daughter's better than another. If you disagree, you know what I'm saying? Me, I like my women agreeable. That's neither here nor there because the books are closed. I ain't got time for none of y'all.
I'm accepting applications.
Let me stop. Officer Shaw accepting the number scrolling on the screen for anybody who wants to call in. Y'all could also click the link that's pinned if you want to be able to actually join the live stream. But if you cannot read the screen, it's 917-779-9499. That's 917-779-9499.
Right, that's for everyone that disagrees.
And you know what I'm saying? Like I see those videos, right? Like the gold digger, you know what I'm saying? Videos online.
Art pranks and he pulls off.
Yeah. So there's like two brothers who do it mainly. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Which one, like, I think it's kind of corny and kind of lame. You know what I'm saying? Especially like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's clear that y'all ain't getting no play without your car. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all got no game. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you turn around and immediately after, like they running, they all knock on the window. They all say the same thing. This you? You know what I'm saying? And that's because,
What's
like,
your name again?
In reality, a woman's survival is really codependent on a man. You know what I'm saying? That's why even inside of the scriptures, it says that, you know what I'm saying, the desire shall be towards your husband. Like, that's the natural order of things. Like this false sense of security that you have inside this society, or because you got a doorman, you think you protected, you know what I'm saying, in your building, it is why you think that you don't need a man off the rip. You know what I'm saying? And that's not how nature actually works. Like, you know what I'm saying, as far as the natural order of things. A man is supposed to protect a woman, you know what I'm saying, off the rip. And as a result of that, like, you got to turn around. Like, I like, even like, you know what I'm saying, when I talk to certain young men and stuff like that, like, scriptures aside, things of that nature, I think about three things when I think about, you know what I'm saying, like, if I want to be with a woman. First thing I say is, would she be a good mother? You know what I mean? Like, that's the first thing that, you know what I'm saying, I got to really think about. And the reason being is because it's like, if you sleep with a woman, the possibility to have a child is there. So I got like one of the first things for my personal criteria outside of like, you know, all the many things I learned is, would she be a good mother? Does she have motherly instincts? Or is she going to abort your child? Is she going to be a terrible mother? Is she going to put you on child support? Does she have motherly instincts? That's the first thing you got to say. If you don't see that, run the other way. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, then I got to turn around and say, like, does she have conflict resolution? If you're going to be with somebody forever, if forever is your actual intentions, you got to genuinely look at it and say, okay, if we disagree, are we going to be able to agree again? Are we going to be able to get back in a space, you understand, where we actually still care about each other? Or is this going to downward spiral into, like, you know what I'm saying, a tit for tat, you know what I'm saying, game of negativity until we just both end up hating each other and going in separate ways, or cause a broken family? You got to be able, you understand, to have conflict resolution, because I don't care, you understand, how on a long enough timeline y'all are going to disagree about something. How do you iron that out? Then lastly, I got to turn around and say, is this bitch worth my life? And I got to say it like that, because there could come a time where you're put inside of a situation where you got to defend that woman with your life. If somebody breaks in the crib, it ain't 50-50. I can't turn around and be like, hey, I'm going to hide under the bed. You know what I'm saying? You call 911. Like, as a man, that's your job. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now imagine you just pulled, you know what I'm saying, shorty from the club, right? And you cracked the first night, right? And that night, somebody kicking the door to rob you. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like you catch a hot one or get poked, and now you on the floor leaking over this 304 that you just met. Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a little bit more discipline in yourself and a little bit more vetting, man. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able to take your time. You know what I mean? And you as a man got to be ready to be able to genuinely lead a woman. And if you ain't got no sense of direction, if you ain't know your identity, you know what I'm saying, who the hell is you really leading? And that's the fact. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, y'all could touch the stove. And touching the stove is child support. You know what I'm saying? Touching the stove is ending up inside of them situations, is ending up in jail, ending up in the grave. And that's the last place that you want to go. You want to say something?
Not at all. You said everything that needed to be said.
Well, Most High in Christ, you know what I'm saying? And those are the things that I think about. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the only, you know what's man funny? The only people you saw in the chat disagreeing is women. You know what I'm saying? Y'all must be wonderful. Shout out to Bond Dog and Bond Dog in the house. We got somebody on the line. 346-599. You're on the air with Cross the Line Radio. State your name, where you calling from.
Hey, what's up, Cap? This is Justin from Houston, Texas. I got a quick question for you, bro.
What's going on, brother?
Man, I got a question about the curse of David, the throne of David. Can you explain that to me? But I'm kind of at work right now, so if you could just lay down a few verses for me to listen to and go over, and just and my point where I was coming from is that I'm thinking that like how I can say this, like the throne is cursed. So I'm thinking like no one will be able to sit on the throne anymore. But if you can just explain that to me, that'd be nice.
Okay, I got you.
All right, sir.
No sweat. So that was a punishment, you know what I'm saying, for Jeconiah in that direct lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, meaning that
yes, sir.
For that time period, the house of David had lost the throne. And that's why when Christ comes on the scene, they like, is not this the carpenter's son? Like if you look at the royal family today, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you think well, Prince Edwards or Charles, you think they know how to do carpentry?
Nah, I got you.
Hell
no, they don't.
Well, they probably can't even read a tape measure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, sir.
They ain't never had to. You know what I mean? Like, so because of that, you know what I'm saying? What happens is the house of David had fallen so much that, you know what I'm saying, Joseph, who's supposed to, you know what I'm saying, be the heir to the throne, you know what I'm saying, of that kingdom, you know what I mean? He's sanding down tables and chairs. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.
So as a result of that, it's Christ who not only, you know what I'm saying, redeems his line, but also redeems the rest of Israel. You know what I'm saying? So that's why
it says he's a redeemer or something like that.
Yeah, he's absolutely the redeemer, and you know what I'm saying, he's also the mediator and the go-between, because the Most High didn't want to deal with us as a people. But when somebody like Christ has favor with the Lord, it was just like Moses. Remember, the Lord was gonna like annihilate all the seed of Israel and start over with Moses, but Moses had so much favor with the Lord that he said, please give them another chance, and the Lord listened to his servant. That's like Christ. Christ served the Most High so perfectly that he's that mediator to go in between, you know what I'm saying, for us to actually be redeemed.
That's why we needed the sacrifice. Right?
Exactly. And he not only restored the nation of Israel, but he restored his family. You know what I'm saying? So what you saw with Jeconiah wasn't something that was supposed to be for all eternity. You know what I'm saying? It was for that time. Israel went into captivity, you know what I'm saying? And then once they start to come out of the Babylonian captivity, you know what I'm saying? Now Christ is born, and then he pays the cost to be the boss and redeems all of us.
Yes, sir. Okay. I appreciate you, Captain. So I'm at work right now, and I appreciate you for enlightening me on that subject. If I have any more questions, I'll study and I'll call back in.
No sweat, Hebrew.
Have a good night.
Hey, you too. Shalom. Let's get to the next caller. We got 501-902. State your name, where you calling from. You on the air with Crossline Radio.
Hey, this what's the deal, Captain Katazai?
What's up?
This Keelan from Arkansas here, Little Rock. Hey, man, I really just want to tip my hat to y'all brothers, man, cause bro, I got started probably like a month ago. I ain't in y'all school or nothing like that yet, but I just started listening to y'all from when Captain Tazariak did the Cooley debate or whatever. And bro, I've been locked in ever since. I done subscribed to Cross the Line, Commander General Yohana, Captain Soccer Ward. You know, bro, it's just nice knowing what's going on. And bro, before this, I never heard the Bible. It never felt so clear, you know, reading it, you know. And I love how y'all do the breakdowns. And then I want to shout out to the little video that I had seen what you did with the Catholic Church and all that stuff, cutting them down. I ain't gonna be too long either. Man, when you and Captain Tazariak was on there going against them Jewish folks, bro, y'all was cutting their ass up left and right, man. They ain't even know what the hell to say, man. But man, just thank y'all for for everything y'all been doing, man, and just keep on pushing it, man. Cause I'm all the way down here in Arkansas. Shit, I'm getting the message, bro, and I'm trying to spread it to my brothers and stuff that I know that's around me that's, you know what I'm saying, ain't living right.
Well, it's good that you got that zeal, man. The only thing I'm going to tell you is what you should do is you should come all the way on in. You know what I mean? You should be trained properly, because like what we do, this is a career. You know what I mean? And there ain't no career on the planet that you ain't gotta study at or pay your ranks going up or pay your dues going up and actually learn the trade. And that's the same thing. I don't care if you an electrician. I don't care if you a lawyer. I don't care if you a doctor. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. So like this is a legitimate career that comes with, you understand, a lot of, you understand?
Copy that.
And the Knicks won, baby.
Go ahead.
My bad, kid.
Nah, I was just gonna say, man, I ain't been like trying to teach nobody or nothing, but it's just like, bro, my eyes is open now, man. I'm diving into Genesis. I haven't wanted to open the Bible since I was 14. I'm 30, bro. Man, and I see y'all it's older people on the streets and everything that when they hear the truth, the shit is real. Soon as you hear it, ain't no denying it. So, bro, I'm messing with what y'all got going on, and I'm trying to get locked in. It just, Captain Tazariak, he made a video. He had told me, you know, it ain't no school down here, but we gonna get one by me building one. So I do gotta come to school, you know what I'm saying, and learn what I need to know, because, bro, y'all spit that fire every time y'all talk, man.
Well,
Like,
Most High Christ, what you want to do is you want to find the closest school to you and check in with
I-
them brothers. Huh?
yeah, I'm locked in. I just got off the class with Captain Soccer War. So I've been keeping that's Memphis. He been close, that's the closest to me, but I've been communicating with him and stuff like that, and watching the classes and keeping updated.
Okay, Most High Christ, man. So you on the right track.
Yep. All right. Peace and love, brothers.
All right, shalom. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, that's what everybody's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I had a talk with a brother, matter of fact, over the weekend. I told him the same thing. I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? The scripture says forbid them not. So I ain't going to forbid y'all. But I also ain't, you know what I'm saying, going to approve because, you know what I'm saying, like, who sent you? You know what I mean? Like, when I went out on Saturday, it's because I got sent. When we did a food drive in Brooklyn, I was sent there. I didn't do that on my own volition of my own will. And that's the problem. And everybody, you know, I'm not saying that brother who called up, but you know what I'm saying? Brothers want to do their own will. And then you end up like Glorilla Shebrew getting bent over by your wife. And then, you know what I'm saying? Now people's faith is broken and, you know what I'm saying? And it's really disgusting. It's real nasty out there. You know what I mean? You got far too many. And y'all think we the villains. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all think that we the villains because we did not want to affiliate. You understand? Israelites everywhere understand about no affiliation right now. Y'all didn't want to be affiliated with GMS when they said that you could touch a little girl. I'm sure you don't want to be, you understand, affiliated with Sakari. You know what I mean? And how nasty they are over there. So maybe now y'all start to wake up. But like what I say all the time is here's the problem, right? Anybody who looks at any, like, you know what I'm saying, false leader, you got to look at yourself and say, what was in me that I like the man who liked the rubber dick in him? You understand me? Like, examine yourself. That's what you need to do. You need to look in the mirror. And once you do that, you got to turn around and say, you know what? I didn't want a father. Commanding General Yohana's a father. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing they always said about the UPK. Y'all strict, y'all militant, y'all this, y'all disciplined. Yeah? You know what I mean? And of course we are. The Lord is a man of war. But you know what you wanted? You didn't even want an older brother. You wanted the cousin that you know what I'm saying, scoops you up from you know what I'm saying, Miss Harmony in the house, my sister. You wanted the cousin that scoops you up at Thanksgiving and gets you high. You know what I'm saying? You wanted the drunk uncle who takes you to the strip club. Yeah, you know I mean, you wanted the person who's not a disciplinarian. You wanted the person who's not going to check you. You wanted to go have fun. That's what you wanted. You wanted the truth on your own terms. That's the problem. You know what I mean? And that's how you end up like Mr. Slick. I don't believe in anything anymore. That's how you end up with your faith broken. You know what I mean? Because you went and you followed a stumbling block. Because you know what? Maybe you wasn't as sincere as you thought. Or maybe you got deceived. Maybe you are a victim. You know what I mean? But what I do know is that the sincere is going to make it home. That's what I know. You know what I'm saying? I know that the truly sincere is going to make it home and they're going to do their due diligence. You know what I mean? If there's anything that I learned from graduating Hebrew Academy in 2014, it's everybody loves Yahweh Shah till it hurts. You get what I'm saying? Everybody loves the truth until it hurts. You want to come, like what I notice is I see so many people, they want the knowledge. You want the information. You want to know who ruled the Dark Ages. You want the breakdowns because you want to cut people. You like the thrill of battling. You like getting puffed up by knowledge and knowing things. You get what I'm saying? And you don't like sacrifice. You don't like checking in. You don't like showing up. You don't like doing work. You want to do work on your own. You understand? You want to be self-employed in the truth. And that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Then you get left to your own devices and you destroy yourselves and you destroy everybody else who follows you. That's the facts. And shame on you, man. Let me see. We got a whole bunch of scoffers, you know what I'm saying, but people who be afraid to call in, you know what I'm saying? That'd be real interesting. I don't
Exposing ignorance. Why don't you just click the link and join the live stream?
yeah, just pop in.
Can you who's this other Wesley Curry? You never had the spirit of Jesus Christ in you anyway. You could just click the link and call. Exposing ignorance. Come on, stop arguing with anyone in the chat. Just click the link, join.
Yeah, Jesus don't love you.
Yeah, come on. Wesley Curry the second, exposing ignorance. Click the link, follow instructions, click the link, join the live stream. Just click the link, join the live stream.
I absolutely love saying outlandish things like that are so true, but like the Christian just won't understand. It's over your head. Jesus don't love you.
Wesley Curry, before you go, Jesus does not love you. All right?
He'll be back.
They always do. They always do. Oh,
Camp in Harlem this weekend.
that's going to be good.
It's going to be excellent.
And it's Pride Month on Sunday.
And then he says goodbye. Why don't you just, you know what I'm saying, call up?
He's been here before.
Yeah.
Has he? That's interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Jesus don't love you. What?
Camp in Harlem.
Yeah, Camp in Harlem this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Pull up. It just be, them old school camps. I'm saying old school, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, say old school to me, Harlem was wild. Harlem was insane. It was a battle every single weekend, man.
And I look at those videos and I'm like, what the hell was I doing? I know what I was doing at that time, But when then I compared to today, and I'm like, none of our enemies have any more guts or will to come and speak anymore. It's like they've been so trodden down.
See the phone line?
They're scared. Everyone's scared.
Let's see who we got real quick. Now I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But what are you doing? You want me to do it? 415. You're on the Crossline Radio. State your name, where you calling from.
My name is Timo, calling from San Francisco.
San Francisco. What's going on? You got a question or a comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering if could you guys explain how you figure that Hispanics are Jew?
So the indigenous of America who was conquered, you understand, by the Hispanics, by the Spaniards, and got renamed, classified Latinos, you know what I'm saying, because of slavery, those are the Israelites. So Jew is a blanket term. Jew could talk about the entire nation, or it could talk about, you understand, the tribe of Judah, or it could talk about Judea. You know what I'm saying? The tribes that was in Judea. You know what I'm saying? So the more correct term.
Yeah, you know who started slavery though, right?
Who started slavery?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the transatlantic slave trade, it would be the Spaniards and Portuguese, right?
Absolutely. And those are not Israelites. Those are oppressors. Those are Edomites.
So what did you say you was in Panetta sitting right next to you?
So I'm a so-called Puerto Rican, and I always forget you. I know you're Asher, but which?
Yesterday I'm Brazilian. Today I'm Ecuadorian. Tomorrow I'll be Colombian. It's all.
Yeah. So just wrap it all up together. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, my father would be considered Taino. So my father would be one of the indigenous of the island who was conquered by the Spaniards.
Yeah, and what's your last name though?
I don't have a last name. I'm Katazar. You understand?
You got no last name?
Nah.
Oh yeah,
no
okay,
last name.
sure. Yeah.
I'm
sure it's like probably like mine, like Cortez, right?
Yeah, but
your people speak Spanish and all that.
So now let's say you got like a Taino or an Aztec or any, you know what I'm saying, indigenous tribe that was conquered by the Spanish, right? Them having the last name Cortez, as you said, is no different than a black man whose last name is Johnson. The Johnson plantation was the one who conquered and owned them in the same way Cortez conquered. So in the same way that the so-called, you understand, Negro in America lost his identity and gained a surname from a white man is the same way that the indigenous of America did.
But let me tell you something though, bro. Like the brothers in the country, right? They got put on a boat by us, the Spaniards and the Portuguese, right? So to try to put us in the same
When you say
situation as them, it's not the same thing.
no, but I think you were a little confused. But when you said us, who's us that you were talking about?
I'm Hispanic as well.
Okay, you're Hispanic,
I'm a Hispanic, bro.
but are you Spaniard or are you Los Indios?
Well, I mean, we all got some kind of Indian running around somewhere, but as far as I'm concerned, like my mom and dad speak Spanish, and my grandparents, everybody in my family. So to me, there's no difference. Like, you know, and then if your people do speak Spanish, which I don't really see it, bro, but and then Ponce next, he look Mexican, but maybe his people speak Spanish. Like, there's no way for us to say, okay, we took these people as slaves, we dropped them off over here, we dropped them off over there, but we in the same boat as them. It don't make no sense.
So I think you a little confused on what we teach. I think that you got like an overview and you don't, you know what I'm saying, really understand the depth of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just because you don't have enough information. But
well, I've seen a couple of things, like when the old dude with the braids, he be talking. I heard him say shit like, "Oh yeah, we go off of Deuteronomy and this and that." But that really, if you think about it, don't make no sense, right? It just, all of it don't make sense. And then for us to sit here and be like, I love black people, right there. I'm from San Francisco. We fuck with blacks, right? But for me to act like I'm black is not gonna work, bro. And then for me to pretend like I'm something else, it just don't. That ain't it, bro. You know what I mean?
nobody see like I think that what happens is people associate like blackness with strictly like the tribe of Judah. So nobody's telling
Well, I say I'm trying to, and all respect.
Hey, you see how
is Negro.
See how I gave you the respect of the floor, and now I'm responding.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when people turn around, as you say it, they just think Negro or Judite. You know what I'm saying? But when we turn around, all tribes are black. Every tribe has their own flavor. You know what I'm saying? So we're not talking about, you know what I'm saying, you being a Judite, but Judites and Ephraimites are cousins and they are family. And there's something that we all have in common. We all suffered through a diaspora. We all suffered through colonization. And I'm not talking about the Spaniards. If you're a Spaniard, then you're a part of the problem. If you're Los Indios, then
I'm a Hispanic. I'm Hispanic, like the brother that's sitting next to you.
I don't think you understand. Like, you don't make a difference. We make a difference. So just because somebody's labeled as a Hispanic or a Latino doesn't make them my brother. You know what I'm saying? What makes them my brother is if you got Negro or Indian descent on your father's side.
What makes the difference?
I just told you what makes.
I didn't hear that part. Sorry.
You got to pay attention to what I'm saying and not homeboy that's talking to you.
I didn't hear you. Cut out.
So what I'm saying is that what makes the difference is if you're of Negro or Indian descent on your father's side. That's what matters.
All right. So you got Indian and you're a Jew.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would depend on the tribe, but if that's what you need to hear, yes. If paternally you have Indian in you, not East Indian, you know what I'm saying? Feathers, not dots. All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just like, see, I heard him say one thing like, yeah, man, they brought us over on ships and all this, and then you keep on reading the quote and say, but nobody would buy you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which it kind of like made me say, well, what the fuck is he talking about then? If you say he's trying to make it seem this way, and then if you just keep reading a little bit, it say, and no one's gonna buy you. Which, I mean, I don't know if you know, but when we brought these people over here, bro, like they got sold, bro.
Yeah. So when you say we. Maybe you are.
Yeah, I'm Hispanic, bro.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, are you a Spaniard?
Everybody, if you say you a Puerto Rican, bro, si tiene gente allá en Puerto Rico, you have Spaniard as well, bro.
So
like you can't differentiate. Like
what you're saying is,
you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has Spaniard in them. Everybody. If you're Hispanic or Latino, you have Spaniard in you, or Portuguese.
What you're saying is a myth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
not everybody mixed. Not everybody is a product of rape. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to stop.
you're right about that.
You got to stop watching movies. So as a result,
What do you mean?
what I'm saying is the Taínos still exist. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah, I know.
The Aztecs still exist. So as a result,
Yeah, no, they don't. But
yes, they do.
I get what you're saying.
And what I'm saying is the people, not the empire.
Well, I mean, you know, like what I'm trying to get at though is you get what I'm saying. Like you saying, okay, we brought these folks on boats, right? With all due respect and no disrespect intended. My people brought their people a long time ago over here on boats, and you saying that well, we all the same thing. But if you read what it say too, it's like even what he's saying don't make no sense because if you just read a little bit more, it say they got sold.
So
And shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
no, you don't understand because it's old English, right? But when it says, "And no man shall buy you," that "buy you" means
Yeah.
redeem, and redeem in that context means.
that sounds,
I'm
you know, man, my boy, they be buying that.
You a little.
They be buying that. Like I know people buy into that, right?
You a little.
But listen to what you're saying, though, folks. Listen to what you're saying.
You a little incoherent right now. You know what I'm saying? So here's
Sorry about that.
So here's what I'm gonna do, right? Because it sounds like you want a smoke break. You know what I'm saying? Get your shit focused. I got other callers. I'm gonna put you on mute for a second.
No, listen. Just let me ask you one thing.
Collect your thoughts.
I want you to listen to what you said, though, bro.
And you can ask me when I come back. Who's 77? Oh, Jesus Christ! We got somebody in the back.
You got V.
Who?
V.
Bring them on for a second. V, you got a question or a comment?
Yeah, real quick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
Can I just have a quick breakdown of Genesis chapter 17, verse 20? Because from that verse, it sounds like God is not only for Israel. And leave the chat.
No sweat. Genesis 17 and 20. You could have stayed on though. You know what I'm saying? It's not a problem. This way, if I got a clarifying question, you know what I'm saying? Genesis, go ahead, read it.
Genesis chapter 17 and verse 20. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes.
You sound low again. You're not.
12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
Okay, so a lot of people, like, you know what I'm saying, confuse a blessing with the actual covenant or the promise. You know, Esau was blessed with the sword. Ishmael was blessed with princes. But if we read verse 21, it says, but my covenant, you know, if you know, they say, like, if you hear the word but, everything before it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But my covenant will I establish with Isaac. Ishmael didn't get the covenant. He got princes. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with a nation having princes. There's nothing wrong with there being another nation. But what it comes down to is that the covenant was only for Israel, and it was passed from Isaac to Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. No other nation has that. You understand? He's gone? No sweat. Did that nutcase call back in? Let me see the phone line. Oh, because there is nutcase on there. Yeah, nah, he hung up. He didn't have the fortitude. Give me this crazy, you know what I'm saying, Puerto Rican again. Moise, what's up?
Hey, bro. I think a lot of like as I got older, like being a Puerto Rican, we weren't really taught history of Latin America or ourselves. We were kind of assimilated into this country's educational system. So it took something that I had to learn outside of the educational system. But like when Homeboy was talking about the Spaniards, you would have to go into the history of Jews and Moors to understand who came along with the Spaniards. It wasn't just white men. There were black Spaniards. There were a lot of people that converted under the Catholic church.
There were black conquistadors, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? There was one
Yeah.
with Ponce.
Yeah, and then there was Sephardic Jews and Moors that most black people still would consider through the Moor lineage or the Moor history. A lot of Jews from conquering were mixed with the Moors. So when Spain came to this country, they brought a lot more than just white people. That Christopher Columbus was considered Italian. Some people say he's Portuguese. Yet he was different than Queen Elizabeth, who gave whatever her decisions were to come over here. But there were more.
He was a Jewish converso, and he was actually from Spain.
Wicked, saying so. And again, Israel's wicked. So there's a lot that came over here when it's kind of like when the focus on the Indians, and even with the Indians, where you look at the history of. I just wanted to add on because you get some people who's going to be like, oh, well, we were Spanish. I get that because I felt like that when I was young, but you would have to do so much studying to understand the history of Spain coming to the Americas and adding to, it's like a circular situation in history, in my opinion. So when you go into different Indians and leading into as far as the Taínos, in my opinion, would be the oldest because there was 2 large migrations, and we're going into scientific studies on the Bering Strait. So there was 2 large migration periods.
That Bering Strait is bullshit.
Yeah. What do you? So at what point do you consider what Indian is Indian? And at what point were boats coming to the Americas? So then, so because it could be a migration through East Asia too after Babylonian and all that as well. I don't know. So
the natives that we're talking about and that we're claiming, you know what I'm saying, came over here and crossed the Atlantic. You could actually even go, my man Montezuma is actually quoted directly for saying that they came from the East and they crossed the Atlantic. So it's not only in their own records and in their own oral traditions. It's the same thing even when it comes down to the people we claim are the Seminoles, like the Creek and the Uchi. They have migration legends that before they were in Georgia and Florida, they were in Mexico with the Mayans. And before that, they were in Peru. And before that, they came across the water and came from the East. You know what I'm saying? So all of that.
Keyword with.
What do you mean?
Or were. You said they were with the Mayans, but you did not say they were the Mayans. So the migration still stands. Are you saying that there was Israelites that
what I'm saying
are intermixed in the Indian population?
What I'm saying is that these different tribal groups that I'm talking about are all Israelites from different tribes who collectively came over here together and share oral traditions of coming over from the East. And when you go and you look up a lot of people don't know this, but you know what I'm saying, those who actually go and research it, the Taínos, the Mayans, the Aztecs, they had trade routes from Florida to the southern tip of Florida into Central and into the Yucatan. You can't have advanced trade routes without having a common tongue. How else are you going to be dealing in commerce?
No, I agree. I don't. Before you go too much, because that's a perspective, because you're going into self.
Brother, let me finish my thought.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? So for you to be able to have these different advanced trade routes, that means that not only were these different nations in contact with each other, but that means that in being in contact with each other, you know what I'm saying, they had to be able to communicate. So they were way less divided than what the popular consensus actually is. If you go and you look up the actual history, you know what I'm saying, from amongst their people and not just what the Spaniards put out as propaganda.
Well, that's opinion, because I'm going to take the floor from now. It's okay?
Yeah, you got it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes. But what I said was the fact.
There was communications about hand signals. So even though some spoke different dialects or languages, even the Taíno, when they were discovered, they were rewriting a new language and what was, what they can at the moment. So they were different than their migration from Venezuela, right? So historically, you would be telling me that I guess you don't believe in science and the way science explains it when you say the Bering Strait. But with my studies, like island hopping through the Solomons in Australia from the Aboriginals, that was debunked. And then as far as the Africans going through hurricane seasons, at what period? Because we're going history on science would say 10,000, 12,000, 13,000, and again two large migrations. I know this is my study based on science and my opinion, but I do believe that even the Moors will bring out that before Christopher Columbus, maybe Christopher Columbus had maps of the Moors, and that's the reason why So there were people coming over here. And then would the 10 to 15,000 year mark still be considered the people that? So this is based on my studies. So this is where and even so, you can still, besides Indians, there is a mixture of Indians, which even black people, the Olmecs and all that stuff like that, they go into. So not to deny that there were not black people from Africa, and then Indians that go far back to the Babylon Empire that migrated maybe through the Bering Strait. Scientifically, you would have to disprove that, and then as well with Spanish history. So all this gets applied when we start the arguments where certain Latinos will feel like, well, I got to represent this and all that. No, you got to do a lot more digging. That's where my argument stands, not to go against you, because there's so much more history in this, besides Israelites saying, well, particular people, King David sent down for large trees, oak trees in California, I would imagine. And prior to that, this is the difference where, like, the same way where certain Israelites will say all black people are considered the Jews of the Bible. So historically, there's some more digging that needs to be applied. So when Latinos start calling up and denying the Spanish side, there's history in that. The Indian side, there's a lot more to that. And then the black mixture amongst the Latin, how can I say, from Brazil to Colombia, to the Caribbean, to Mexico, and then Mexicans that were already here that would be considered the Indonesian.
Before we get
There's a lot more to this.
So
no, that's all. I just wanted to add on.
I got you, but you said a lot of things that's just not true. And this is just what I want to see how deep you went. Who was the first person? Who was the first person to ever propose the Bering Strait? And here's another thing. It's called a theory. The Bering Strait has never been proven inside of history. It's literally called the Bering Strait theory. So my question to you is, since you've dug so deep, is who was the first person in history to propose the Bering Strait?
Well, I don't know, but as the ice melt evaporated, dissipated. I don't know the name. Why would you want the name? But I do know as far as history. If you want to Google the name, that's not that serious. But the bones discovered. Wait. I'm talking. Wait. You gave me the floor, right?
You just asked the question. I gave you the floor to answer.
No, I know. Before you can hold on that answer. You can hold on. Before
here's what I'm saying.
Before you throw me off. Okay.
Hold on. I just let you go off on a tangent.
Let's not forget that question.
I asked you a very short question, right? And the reason being is because it's either you know or you don't know. Now you want to go into just spewing rhetoric and random facts when you don't even know the history of it. It's propaganda that was started by Jose de Acosta. He was a Jesuit priest in the late 16th century. I know the history. That's what I'm telling you. He was
he studied all migrations.
He was. You got to focus on what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Bering Strait that you believe these migrations happened over was first proposed by Jose de Acosta. And this was around like 1590, maybe 1592. It was the late 16th century. And the reason as to why he said it was because there was a question that was arising concerning the tribes, concerning the natives of America. One of them at that time was that they were the Israelites. Jose de Acosta was directly against that. So he said, no, they had to come from the West and propose the Bering Strait theory, not based off of scientific evidence, based off of him wanting to prove that they were not the Israelites. And then that got adopted by the Bureau of Ethnology, and then it became indoctrination. So what you're calling science has been disproved on many levels, even according to the Indians' own oral tradition. So you could talk to me about bones that you can't really prove the dating system, and you could talk to me about this theory, but it's bullshit.
Okay. Can I go?
Yeah, that's how it goes. We go back.
All
and
right, let
forth.
me give you a logical question. Based on you're saying scientific theory, I don't know, but one thing I do know Eskimos have dark skin, and there's no way that they're going to be thousands or 50,000 years there and still maintain their dark skin if they were not from another region. That would go against science, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I absolutely believe
So there
that the Eskimos.
is some.
You want me to answer the question? You
No,
asked
go
the
ahead.
question.
Yeah, I know. Like Chess, we got to hit that timer and shit.
It's not just because you're talking about and I have other callers, but you're talking
Yeah, I
about
know.
a completely different. You're talking about a completely different group of people. We do not claim Eskimos. The Eskimos absolutely migrated, you understand, from the Siberian region. Those are not our people. What I'm telling you is that the people that I mentioned, Montezuma's people, the Taínos people, you understand, did not migrate across a Bering Strait. They crossed the Atlantic. That's where they crossed. And when they crossed was after the Assyrian Empire. The people you're talking about is a completely separate ethnic group of people who come from a completely different region at a completely different time.
Are you saying there were ships that they crossed over to the Atlantic?
Yes, they were. They said that's how else would you get across the Atlantic?
Mm. Well, anyways, I was just adding on to the discussion of the other guy who was calling in your defense. But
You said
I had to get into deeper. All that. That's all opinion, bro.
you breaking up.
You're using. No. You hear me?
You breaking up.
I'm still. You hear me?
You choppy, man. You need Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi.
Well, anybody can listen to what I said prior to that.
All right. Thanks anyway.
We're good,
All
or
right,
you want to? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Let's go to is it Kethy?
KT.
Ketty?
Yes, sir.
What's going on? You got a question or a comment?
Yeah, I had a comment about. Well, I technically wanted to respond to the title of this live stream. It says that can you prove that Jesus died for all men, and so that's basically the reason I jumped in here to do.
Oh, you want Christ to be for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just not true. Go ahead, man. Produce your cause.
Yeah. Yeah, and before I do prove that, I wanted to ask you if you believe in do you believe in the Bible?
Yeah, I believe in. That's such a funny question.
No, I'm curious though. I want to know because I might pull out something that comes straight from the Bible. You might be like, oh, I don't believe this, and
Oh, nah. So just so you know, right? We believe in the Bible from cover to cover, from Genesis to Revelations. You know what I'm saying? With the Apocrypha included in between. We do not acknowledge anything else as canon outside of that. So you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna pull out some, Gospel of Mary or Jasher or you know what I'm saying, Book of Enoch.
No, I'm gonna stick to the canon and the Apocrypha. If that's what you use, then yeah.
That's exactly what we use.
Yeah. So, okay. In 1 Timothy, Paul says,
First Timothy what? First Timothy? No?
Are you still there?
No, Timothy?
oh yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. You said First Timothy what?
Yeah, 1 Timothy chapter 2, starting from verse 3 to verse 6. And I'm gonna read it from the LEB version because that's my preferred translation.
From the which version?
LEB.
Okay.
Yeah, it says, for this is hold on. Can you hear me?
The KJV 1611. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Y'all got to pay y'all bills, man. I know times is hard right now, but like you're saying, y'all got to pay y'all bills.
We can't hear you if you're talking.
Okay, can you hear me?
We hear you now.
Okay.
Who's
Well, I guess it's because when I leave the stream and trying to go to my Bible and then it kind of stop, you know.
Oh, so okay, because you're on the live stream, when you go over to the Bible app, it cuts you out.
Yeah, it cuts me out. But
Ah.
I can't quote on top of my head. I know it says something that this is good and acceptable before God, who wants all people to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth. Because there's one man, Jesus Christ, who gave himself for all human beings. He gave himself as a ransom for all human beings. So how do you understand that passage right there? First
Yes.
Timothy chapter 2, verse 3-6.
So you gotta know the context, right? Because y'all read when it talks about all men, right? And all men is talking about all men of Israel. The context is not talking about all men just everywhere. It's all over the scriptures that Christ is the savior of Israel. Just like when you read the American Constitution said all men were created equal. In 1776 in America, were all men equal, or did white men have slaves?
Well, I wanted to talk about the Bible, have a Bible discussion. But if you want to talk about America, that's fine.
Having a biblical discussion, but what I'm trying to do is draw a parallel to get you to understand that when you read a historical document, you need historical context, and you can't just read a line out of a historical context and think this is the end all be all.
Okay. Yeah, but really my point is that that verse says Christ died. There's one mediator between God and mankind, the man Jesus Christ, who gave himself for all human beings. According to my version, says all human beings at a proper time. So I mean, you're saying it could mean all Israel, but I just don't see that in there. It says God is the mediator between man and God. That's mankind.
Okay, so let's go. We can go find out who he's the mediator for. Are you ready for that? I mean,
We can go somewhere. We can go somewhere else. I don't think the Bible is going to contradict itself if it says he's the mediator here.
The Bible is not going to contradict itself, but this kind of ties into my point that you avoided, because all you cared about was your point inside the dialogue. Because
no, I want to hear your point. Yeah, trust me, I didn't.
You can't hear my point if you talk over me. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
like,
go ahead.
like you spoke, I spoke, and this way the listening audience could hear us
Yeah.
both.
Yes, sir.
So when it comes down to is that you understand, wanted to avoid my point, and my point was that you need context, and you can't just go isolate one verse and then remove it. And the only thing I think me and you are going to agree on is that the Bible does not contradict itself. So since you want to talk about Christ being the mediator, I'm going to read a scripture that has to do with the mediation and who it's between. We're going to go to 9, and I just want to see if I want to start a little earlier. We could just go straight to 15. We can go straight to the meat of it. So we're in Hebrews chapter 9. I'm gonna just read it for the sake of it. You know what I'm saying? It's the water though. You know what I'm saying? This is Hebrews 9 and 15, and it says, "And for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament." We agree this is talking about Christ?
Yes.
"That by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions." Do we agree that transgression means sin?
Mm-hmm.
So it's talking about Christ died for the redemption of sin. Now it's about to tell you for who. That were under the first testament. Who was under the first testament? Everyone or Israel?
So the first testament there, I mean, first of all, it's not saying Christ, what it's saying is that he paid for the transgression, not for the people, but for the transgression that were under the first testament. And the first testament, you got to understand, started from Adam all the way until the Christ came into the sin. So Adam was literally the first man, and God made a covenant with him that was supposed to be but the point is that the first testament started with the man Adam, and then we have the New Testament from the new Adam, which is Christ.
So when we go
So
and
all the people. So yeah, let me
leave,
just add one more thing. So if just one more thing, and I'm gonna let you go. So all the people from starting from Adam all the way up until Christ were the people under the first testament.
yeah, see, that's just not true. And
Okay.
the problem with what you're saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I really wish you had a little bit more integrity than that, or maybe you just don't know, is that there was a chosen people after Adam. After the flood, there was a covenant that was only given to a specific people. So when we're talking about the testament, we're talking about that specific covenant. So when we go and look at that covenant, when we go and look, you understand, at this quote unquote testament, I'm going to read First Chronicles 16, since we're talking about the first testament. And it says, even the covenant which he made with Abraham and his oath unto Isaac, and hath confirmed the same to Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. This was only for Israel and no one else. So when hold on,
Okay.
you understand? Because you were long-winded a second ago. So when I go back to Hebrews and we talk about who the mediation is between, and it says, and for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament, we in the New Testament, that by means of death for the redemption of transgression that were under the first testament. So I ask you again, and this is what I'm going to say, who was under the first testament? Now, I pulled the scripture that showed you who was under the first testament. You need to show me everyone was under the first testament.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can respond to that. What was the verse you read? Was it First Chronicle? What chapter?
When we went back, I read First Chronicles 16, and I believe starting at verse, was it 16?
Yeah, but I think, yeah, because I heard it. I think I heard you read that verse, but I don't think that verse said First Testament. You said they were under the covenant. You didn't say first covenant. So
First Testament is the first. That's what testament means. It's covenant.
I mean, do you realize that God made several covenants with mankind? I mean, even
right. And the covenant that we're speaking of is the covenant of the Old Testament that was given to Israel. That's
so God made a covenant with Noah right way before the Mosaic covenant even existed. You realize that?
That is not the covenant in which we're speaking of. That's not the covenant. That's, you understand, that's inside.
So what are we talking about? Are we talking about the first covenant that's mentioned in Hebrews 9? Are we trying to figure what that is, or what are we talking about?
What we're talking about is Hebrews 9 is talking about the covenant that was given to Israel. So now when it talks about them that were under the first covenant, we're talking about Israel. And I just went and showed you the covenant and who was under it. So can you show me everyone being under that covenant?
Okay, so let me go back to the verse you read. You said First Chronicles 16 and...
So just so you know, I first started in Hebrews to talk about the mediation. I then went and showed you the covenant that we're speaking of. So you have to show me where everyone is under that covenant.
Yeah, so First Chronicles 16:14, it says, "Is Yahweh our God is just."
You cut out again.
Oh yeah, it's because I went to my Bible again. But yeah, I just read that verse. It doesn't say anything about first covenant. It says it just said covenants that he made with Abraham. But you got to realize that God made several covenants before the Mosaic law even existed. So I mean, it's just that simple. The first testament
we're talking about. We're not talking about anything with Noah. We're not talking about anything with anyone else. The first covenant it's talking about is this covenant with Israel.
Okay, let me ask you then. In the verse you read,
I'm explaining it to you right now.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So we can go and we can look at we can go to Romans, we can go further in Hebrews, and we can show that the covenants that Hebrews is talking about is the covenant that was made with Israel. Maybe you don't know that.
I mean, I respect your point of view, but I don't think you've worked enough to actually prove that. Because the verse you read, if you don't mind me ask you, it doesn't. Does it say?
Would you like to go one chapter back in Hebrews, and we can show you which covenants that the book of Hebrews is talking about?
That's fine. We can move on to that, but quickly.
No, it's
the
not.
verse you read.
It's not moving on to it. It's exactly on topic with what we're talking about now.
Okay. Let's go to Hebrews 8.
So here, just so you know, right, to give you the run through, you took me to Timothy's to bring up a verse speaking about how Christ is the mediator. I took you to a verse to show you who Christ mediated for. Now we're trying to establish who's under what covenant are we talking about, and then we'll understand who Christ mediated for. Well, that was in Hebrews 9. Well, let me tell you something. Hebrews 8, this is how numbers go: 7, 8, 9. So if we want to know the covenants, all we could do is just go back one chapter and read in 8, and we'll find out which covenant we're speaking about.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I think it says. I mean, it says God is going to make a covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. I'm aware. I think that's where you're going.
So I'm going to start at verse 6. This is Hebrews chapter 8, verse 6. And it says, but now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for a second. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So the first covenant that's being referenced inside of Hebrews is the one that was established with the house of Israel. So we can't go to Noah. We can't go to anyone else. We have to deal with Israel, which is why I took you to Chronicles. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Who was under the first covenant?
Yeah, I think I answered it already. I said the First Testament there refers to the First Testament God made with mankind. That was Adam. And it was supposed to be a perpetual covenant. But to answer
that's not what Hebrews 8. Where did Hebrews mentioned?
No, you asked me about Hebrews 9. You didn't ask me about Hebrews 8. Now I'm about to answer Hebrews 8.
Hebrews 9 is built off of 8, and it just told you the first covenant it was talking about in 8.
And no, it doesn't. It is in Hebrews 8. It's talking about the new covenant, which is made.
You're getting eaten alive right now, and you're starting to look like a novice. You're really looking like you're wasting this program's time right now. Because if we read Hebrews, the 8th chapter, and it says for the first covenant that it's speaking of, it's talking about the one that was established with Israel, which is why they said they had to make a new one to begin with. So the context of that first covenant is not the covenant you're speaking of. It's the one that was made with Israel. It's the same one I went to in Chronicles. It's the same one that repeats throughout the entire Bible.
Okay, so I guess you're saying the first covenant is the Mosaic law, because the Mosaic law is the old covenant. So I guess you're saying that's the Mosaic law.
So
was the first covenant?
The law is a part of that covenant. The word covenant means agreement.
Okay.
There was an agreement that was made between the Most High and the nation of Israel.
Yeah, I get you. Here's my point. Let's say I even grant you that for a second, right? Let's say
it's not. You're not granting me shit.
You get what I'm saying? Let's say I walk with you. Okay, let's say I walk with you. He's talking about the first covenant.
You asked the question, and now you're interrupting the thought process.
No, I see what you're saying, and I want to respond to that if I may, please, because I already understood what you're saying.
But you don't respond to anything that I say directly.
Well, I'm about to respond. I'm about to do it right now. So let's say I walk with you, and we both agree that it's referring to the old covenants, which includes the Mosaic law. But when we go back, even let's say I grant you that when we go back to Deuteronomy 29, I believe. And I'm gonna just quote on top of my head. He says, even the strangers could be a part of the Mosaic covenant. I mean, are you familiar with that passage?
I think that you're completely unfamiliar with who the strangers of that it's speaking of.
Okay, I mean, let's look at what it says then. So it's Deuteronomy 29. I mean, oh man, I can get to my Bible. It's gonna cut off. But
So
basically, it says,
you know what you should do, and just so we can make this fair, you should either get you another device or you should get you a handheld Bible so we could actually have the discussion. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
that
So
would be more appropriate.
I think that would be better because I also don't want to jam you up with reading it. So if you want to go be better prepared and then come back, that's fine.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. Uh, yeah, but I guess I can just close it up here because it actually says, if you read it in Deuteronomy 29, it says that God was
Now,
talking
just know if you say your point, I'm gonna respond.
Yeah, I can let you respond, and then we can kind of like just wrap it up from there. But God was talking to the whole congregation, and he says, "I'm not making this covenant with you alone. I'm also making it with the stranger that is standing here with us to this day." So, and even throughout history, we saw Gentiles being grafted into the house of Israel, being part of the covenant. You have people like Ruth. You have Gentiles who were being joined to the house of Israel, and they were being part of the covenant. So my point is that even if we say that's referring to the old covenant, I think God's intention was always to bring all humanity together and to work together and to save all humanity. So I mean that's what the Bible says. That's what the whole history of the universe is about. It's about the redemption of the creation of God. And so, I mean, that's what I believe. And if you don't believe that, I mean, I respect that. But we can just agree to disagree. That's fine.
So there's a couple of misconceptions that you said. You know what I'm saying? One of which is Ruth is an Israelite, and that's the problem. Christians don't know the Bible, and
Ruth is an Israelite.
Ruth is absolutely an Israelite. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So when you turn around and say statements like that, it's just not true. You're trying to include somebody who is already a part of the covenant and the family. Two, this is what jams people up. Stranger is not a race. Stranger is a title. Israelites have been called strangers all throughout the scriptures because saying stranger is like saying, in a certain sense, peasant, serf. It's a position inside of society. It's a non-landowner inside of a particular area. When Israel was giving out inheritance, you know what I'm saying? Or when Israel was or when certain Israelites were impoverished, they were considered strangers because it was a low condition inside of the nation. Just like when there's inheritance in Israel, in one area in Israel, Judah lived. In another area, Ephraim lived. And if Ephraim went inside the land of Judah, they were strangers because strangers could not inherit inside of the of that portion of the land. And I'm going to give you a couple of scriptures to prove and validate what I just said. And this is why I said, like, if you were to turn around and, you know what I'm saying, be able to have this conversation, but because you spoke on it, I'm going to respond. So I'm going to give you, for example, Zechariah chapter 7. Hold on. I'm starting Zechariah. Let me get there. Zechariah chapter 7. And I'm going to drop down to show you that this says, I'll start at verse 9. It says, "Thus speak the Lord of hosts, saying, execute true judgment and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother." His brother is Israelite. Your brother is the seed of your people. "And oppress not the widow." Widow is not a race. Widow is a position. It's somebody who has lost their husband. "Nor the fatherless." Fatherless isn't a race. Fatherless is somebody who does not have a father. "The stranger" is not a race. The stranger is someone in society who could be poor or not an inheritor of land. "Nor the poor." You see the poor, because poor is not a race. Poor is poverty. It's a position in society. "And let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart." Why would it say his brother after fatherless, stranger, and poor? Because this is all talking about Israelites. All throughout the scriptures, you can find where this stranger that it's talking about, that is among Israel, is somebody low inside the rankings and status. That's why even if I was to go to Deuteronomy 29 with you, It literally goes in rank order from Moses to the elders, to the captains, to the military, to the men, to the women, all the way on down to the low positions, such as the hewers of wood and the strangers, because the hewers of wood and the strangers was a position, a low position, a servitude inside of Israel. So now,
Okay.
hold on. I said I was going to validate everything that I said. So, you know what I'm saying? So now let me go to Leviticus, and I'm going to go to Leviticus. Do I want Leviticus or do I want Numbers?
No, I mean, this is just for clarification. So I guess because I've been listening to you, I guess you're saying that stranger there is in reference to position, not as to ethnicity or, race. It's more like a position thing.
Correct. And I'm going to give you another scripture to show you where all of Israel was called strangers and sojourners. This is Leviticus, the 25th chapter and the 23rd verse. And it says, the land, talking about the land of Israel. These were the rules and the laws concerning, you understand, the land of Israel. And it says, the land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine. Talking about the promised land really belongs to the Lord. And it says, for ye, meaning Israel, are strangers and sojourners with me. All of Israel has been called a stranger and a sojourner, because Israel never really owned the promised land. And that's why you couldn't really sell your land. You could lease your land, you know what I'm saying? But you couldn't really sell the land because it didn't belong to you. And if you did, then you would actually just be diminishing your inheritance. And the Lord made laws to make sure we would keep our inheritance. And a stranger was someone from another nation, or was someone from another tribe who came inside of your land and he couldn't inherit there. And as a result, this is why you wouldn't glean the corners of your vineyard, because it's for the stranger and the poor and the widowless. Why? Because this stranger can't inherit land here. So where does he get cattle? Where does he get food? The economy inside the Bible was brotherhood. So just so you know, what you said is true. And then these are two scriptures. I have more if you need them, but not to be too long-winded to validate my stance on who those strangers are.
Okay, fair enough. I see where you're coming from. I have one last question. And this is probably my favorite question. I always like to ask anybody who believes that salvation is only limited to a certain race of people. How do you understand Isaiah 56? I mean, pretty much the whole chapter. God says that to the foreigner who keeps my covenants, and no, to the eunuch who keep my Sabbath and hold fast to my covenant, even to him will I bring to my holy mountain, because my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations. How do you understand that?
So when you read this, right, the first thing that you like, even with what you said, when it says this, let's say just 4, since you mentioned the eunuch, I'll read the verse that you were paraphrasing. And it's in Isaiah 56, and it says, for thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keepeth my Sabbaths. The first thing we have to know is, who was the Sabbaths given to? You know what I'm saying? The Sabbath isn't only every 7 days. The Sabbath is also the high holy days. For example, the Passover is a Sabbath. The Feast of Unleavened Bread, the high holy days were Sabbath days and days of holy convocations. These things were only given to the nation of Israel. And again, that word eunuch is not a race. Just like stranger is not a race. Just like widow is not a race. So
I agree with you, man. It's not a race, but when we talk, like, biblically speaking, when those terms are mentioned, it has a specific connotation about it. It has a specific reference to it. We know it's not a race, but for the people of those time reading this, they would have understood it probably differently than you and man would in the 21st century. So when they see eunuch or they see foreigner or Gentile, in their minds, in the Jewish mind, they would be thinking about Gentiles, those who are non-Israelite. So I agree if it's not a race, but we have to understand it in the context in which it was written to.
So the true context in which it was written to, they would not have looked at this as another nation. The reason why they do is because Christians at large have not digested Paul's letters properly, and as a result, they have misnomers about who the Gentiles are, and I'm going to explain what they would have looked at. If you look at a eunuch, right? A eunuch is not going to have children, so they're not going to leave an inheritance. And that would be something like either frowned upon or somebody who wouldn't have possession over something like the covenants and things that offer inheritance too. So therefore, they would be dismissed, because inside of Israel, the main thing that Israel had was a respect of persons. So that's why, like when you read inside of Joel, it talks about, and in all of Israel, and it talks about the Spirit being poured not only on the leaders, but on old men and young men and daughters, because Israel would look like it had to just be this. Like, okay, if you could think about David, you know what I'm saying? David's family left him with the sheep because they didn't believe he was the chosen one, and brought the rest of the family over there to see Samuel. And Samuel was like, is there another? Because I don't see him here. They're like, well, we left the young boy with the flock. Israel always looked at someone carnally. They always looked at somebody like, if they were going to be strong, they must be chosen, when the Lord could have picked anybody from the nation. So that's why the Lord puts emphasis on terms like eunuch, to let you know that this is even going to be for the least of you. This is even going to be for the low tiers of you, from the top to the bottom back to the top. That's the importance of it. It's not to include someone else. It's to make sure that you include your entire nation.
Okay. Yeah, I got 2% of battery. So I'm gonna have to jump out of here. But it was nice talking to you, man. I really enjoyed the conversation, and different views for sure, but I respect that. But hopefully next time I can come up here better prepared, and we can, have another wonderful conversation. But thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. I want to make it fair too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Catch you later.
Yeah, you have a good night.
You too. So that's the truth of the Bible.
Right.
You understand? That's what that is. That is the absolute truth. Let me see the phone line. They both been holding on this whole time. Do I want to mess with Tony?
Bring both on and let him.
I just want to ask Tony one question. Tony.
I thought we called to ask you questions.
Yeah, but this is my show, so I can run it how I want. Tony, are you calling me to talk about Christ being God?
No, you don't want to talk to me about that. You don't want to talk about that.
Is that what you want to talk about, Tony?
I actually want to stick on the topic of what you was just talking about.
I got a feeling that there's going to be a bait and switch, and whatever I talk about with this man, we're going to get right back to where we were.
Because
I don't trust you, Tony.
You say strange when the Bible says strangers. Typically in the Old Testament, that is still talking about Israelites, right?
Where specifically?
Well, I want to go to Exodus 12.
Okay, we could talk about Exodus 12. There's two different strangers or two different people inside of Exodus 12. So the context is going to tell you directly as to who it is, which is why I picked specific scriptures to show you the contrast.
So who's the stranger in Exodus 12?
I mean, so once again, it depends, because there's a stranger, you understand, who's able to partake inside of the Passover, and there's a stranger or an alien or foreigner who's not. You know what I'm saying? That would be the heathen. That would be someone of another nation. The stranger who can partake, you understand, is the one that's of your people and of your nation, because that word could be interchangeable, but the context is going to let you know. So like, for example, the stranger that you can charge usury to or interest is the stranger that's of another nation. But the stranger that you redeem is the one that be your brother, even though he's fallen in decay. So the context is going to let you know how you treat someone of another nation or how you treat somebody of your people. Because even David himself called himself a stranger and an alien. You're familiar with that, right?
Okay, yes. But here in this context, right, in Exodus 12, did the children of Israel actually have their own native land in Exodus 12?
So no, the children of Israel did not have their own native land yet, but these laws were given for how they're supposed to conduct themselves once they get into the land, which is why there's a lot of laws that were given that really pertain to the land, because we were supposed to know how to govern ourselves once we get there. So the law had to be laid down prior to, so we would have a reference point to govern ourselves properly once we made it there.
Okay. So in Exodus 12, verse 49, right, where it says, one law should be for the native born and for the stranger who dwells among you. How are you a native born in Exodus 12 right now if they didn't have a nation at that point?
So
would the native born be the seed of Jacob, and the stranger not be the seed of Jacob?
For the same reason why a moment ago, I don't know if you were paying attention when I brought up how you don't glean the corners of your vineyard, or you don't, you know what I'm saying? And the reason being is Israel at this point wasn't planting vineyards yet. They weren't planting vineyards because they were migrating. At this time, when we're reading like Leviticus and all that, they're still getting quail and manna. You know what I'm saying? And they're still moving through the wilderness. So like I said a moment ago, the laws were also written for once you get there, so you know what to do when you are native born. So you know what to do when you do plant a vineyard. So you know what to do when you are given your inheritance, so that everybody knows their position and how to play it.
So, okay, so we can agree then that if anybody's a stranger among the Israelites in Exodus 12, he is not the seed of Jacob, because the seed of Jacob hasn't been dispersed throughout all the nations yet.
So if
they were all right there,
hold on, if an Israelite, I'm trying to give you the logic. If an Israelite could be native born, an Israelite could also be born from another province or area, could he not?
No, because all of Israel was right here at this moment.
It's talking about natively as far as the land, like everything when you talk about, right? Like
this is talking about the Passover.
And the Passover is celebrated where?
They celebrated the Passover before they even got into the promised land.
They did, but aren't there also, isn't there also breakdowns about how these things are supposed to be conducted no matter where they are?
Yes, but at this point where they are, the only strangers who are among them are non-Israelites.
Those are not the only strangers who are among them, because as I stated, as I stated earlier to you, I'm trying to explain it to you, because you know what I'm saying. No, I didn't explain it to you. I explained it to the African guy. Is that stranger is not only somebody who does not have inheritance in the land, it's also a position inside of society.
But what you're not understanding, that there at this point, an Israelite couldn't be a stranger in Israel.
At this point, an Israelite could be a stranger at this point. Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
How could they be a stranger?
I literally explained it 3 times. You want me to explain it 4?
Are you saying the word stranger here is not what it means? It means something else.
I'm telling you that the word stranger is a position inside of society, and that word stranger. I'm trying to explain it to you. How you gonna hear it if every time I go to explain it? That's why it's not clicking, because every time I talk to you, your brain just run. You know what it is? Let me explain. You have a cognitive dissonance right now, Tony. Like, you got a preconceived notion on what you think this word means and how it's actually utilized. So as a result, you're holding on to the only position you think it could be, instead of receiving new information to learn that the word has context. And depending on how it's used is going to show you the context of it. Because you believe that word, like you think that word is like a screwdriver, when that word is like a Swiss Army knife. It's got multiple usages.
I'm saying because the way it's used in this, look, in verse 48, it says, look, when a stranger dwells with you and wants to keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised. Then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as a native of the land. So this stranger is someone who is not circumcised. He is not in the covenant, and he's dwelling with Israel. So he's a stranger who dwell. Exodus 12, verse 48.
No, but I'm asking you. You said it's talking about in this land. What land are we talking about, Tony?
In this land of Israel. Israel was in the desert at that time.
So Israel's in the desert at this time, but this scripture is talking about when Israel is where?
Where they're at right now, in the desert.
Which land is it talking? Okay, let's go back. I got to.
When it's speaking of the land, huh?
If they're in the desert, what would it matter if somebody was born native?
Because
like you're native to the desert. Like there's no inheritance here.
What do you mean there's no inheritance? You have the covenant of salvation. Because the Passover is how you get atonement for sin.
Do you know that inheritance is land?
What are you talking about?
You see how you said, what are you talking about? Like for somebody to be native, right? Like if I'm on a trip, right? Like if I'm visiting or going through the Amazon jungle, am I native to the Amazon jungle?
No.
So where am I native to, or where could somebody be born native to?
Native to where their people are.
And these people, as to where they are not from the desert, correct? Like this is not their home.
At that moment, it was.
Do y'all see what I'm dealing with?
At that moment, it was.
Tony, I'm done with
because
you,
bro. You haven't answered my question.
I got you. Like he's incoherent. This is why we leave you on mute, Tony. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to get you to understand as to why it's talking about, you know what I'm saying, as to the difference between somebody who's native and not native. How are they native to the desert? I don't know. Anyway, it is, what time is it?
11:54.
11:54. We got time for Tony today. We got any other callers?
This guy's been back and whining about it.
Who's in the back?
The guy with the couch.
Who's the guy on the couch? Oh, Ryan?
Yeah.
Man, let Ryan wait. See, like Ryan thinks like he's a privileged white man. He thinks he deserves a voice and an audience and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me tell you something. You could just sit there and wait. I'll let you on when I feel like it, Ryan.
Salakia, did they give the best part of the desert away yet? No.
I don't know.
I want the good sand.
Shit, you know who's native out there? Like the Saudi Arabians. They building cities out there, and somebody's gonna be born right there and be native to that little strip that they made. We got another. Let me see the phone line one more time before we wrap up.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought we had one. We'll take the last one. 413. You're on the air with Crossline Radio. State your name. Where you calling from?
Yo, what's up? Hello?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yo, what's good, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got a couple questions I want to ask about a scripture.
Okay. I could probably take maybe one or two of them, man. You called up at like the last 4 minutes of the show.
It's actually two. It's actually two that I want to get with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, could you go to Isaiah 56:4?
Okay. I think I'm there. We were just breaking that down. Okay. Yeah, we read this like 15 minutes ago.
Give me Deuteronomy 23:1.
You want both of them?
Could you, and then after you read 56, could you read Deuteronomy 23:1?
So Deuteronomy 23:1, he that is wounded in the stones or hath his privy members cut off shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Okay.
So that Eunice, while in Isaiah 56:4, it says that they gonna have a better place than the children. You know what I mean?
All right. Yes, I was about to say.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you also have eunuch, like, you know what I'm saying, as in eunuch doesn't always. Hold on. Which definition?
One who is faithful. You can use although not castrated, a minister.
Yeah, that's he said wounded in the stone, like it can't be that, you know what I mean?
No, I got you, but there's multiple definitions of the word eunuch. You even have eunuchs, like when it says that some shall become eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven. You know what I'm saying? Because a portion of eunuch is also just, you know what I'm saying, abstinent. You know what I'm saying? Or like a direct servant. So inside of the context, here's something else too, right? And especially to know, like, as far as like the prophecy of like when we receive the new covenant and so on and so forth. Like, let me give you an example. You know how Christ was okay. Can someone with leprosy come into the congregation?
See, that's good. I like that you went there.
Mm-hmm.
Because could you go to Exodus 4:6?
Yeah, I could, but could you answer my question so I could build on the point?
No, they can't.
Okay. Did Christ come around lepers and heal them?
Well, in the scripture, it says a stranger, you can't go around or be into touch nothing foul or have nothing foul of a stranger touch you. You can't touch a dead body. You can't be around diseases. Ain't that in the Leviticus, in the law?
I'm with you, but I'm trying to like build off of a point with you, and you keep walking me down like a different side of logic. You know what I'm saying? And then to tie it in, I'm curious, what do you want in Exodus 4?
Because it starts to talk about the leprosy part, right?
Mm.
And then if you go into let me think. Okay, it's Exodus 4:6, and I'm pretty sure I'm thinking like Numbers 12 and 10. Then I think Numbers 5 and 2, Leviticus 13:12, Leviticus 13:29.
Do you subscribe to the New Testament?
Huh?
Do you subscribe to the New Testament?
Do I subscribe? Well, I used to study this. I'm a journalist and I write my books, but I went too deep, and I'm kind of like I'm gonna tell you the truth, bro. I went so deep. I'm gonna give you a scripture for you to look up yourself and ask yourself about this. And you can Google the name of this place, and you wrestle with this, brother. You hear me? You wrestle with this. Because it's Genesis 37 and 17.
Okay.
And look up that place. That place, Dothan, is in Alabama. And it's never, ever been nowhere else in the world.
I knew this was gonna be one of those. Yo, you're not one of the people that think like the promised land is in Mississippi.
The promised land in Mississippi. No, bro. Fuck. No, I don't think. Look. Hey, bro.
You don't follow Tyrone, do you?
Bro, hell no.
Okay, all right. I just, bro, listen. I don't know if like
I used to be. Look. 18 months ago, I used to be in the streets heavy and hard, bro. Until I watched a video of the Israelite thing. I had a homie 10 years ago when I was locked up in the feds for 12 years. He used to be on this trying to tell me about it, but I was hard in my. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the feds, so I'm hard in my hustle. Shit was kind of hard for me. So when I got out, I came out right, keeping, you know what I'm saying, my own commandments at a time, doing the right shit. until I came into this about 18 months ago. Like I said, I'm an avid reader, so I study. So I can take you to Genesis 14:14, and it says Abraham took 10,000 or some people, 300 something in his house onto the land of Dan. Abraham is the great grandfather. How the hell he know about the land of Dan, the Israel?
I got you.
You understand? You get what I'm trying to say?
No, so just so you know, right? Like when the scribes copied records over, sometimes they would put a name that was in reference to what the people knew inside of that time frame. So when it writes down certain things, it's almost like how Jerusalem doesn't get established, you know what I'm saying, until after they're inside the promised land, right? But there's references to Jerusalem inside the books of Moses because that's what the people knew it from that day inside of that paradigm. So it's just a matter of, you know what I'm saying, when it's directly written. Yeah, I mean, even certain.
But that's a contradiction, and we can't contradict or go with any contradiction with the Most High word.
It's not a contradiction at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so that this way you have a reference point as to where the land is. You know, just like I use it all the time in New York, right? You got an area that's called Clinton, right? But everybody still calls it Hell's Kitchen. So depending on like the new kids that are being born right now, they might only know it as Clinton, but the vast majority of us call it Hell's Kitchen. You know what I mean? And depending on the time frame that you're reading it, it doesn't make it a contradiction. It's just a different name. You understand? Depending on what time you're referring to. You get what I'm saying?
Right, but it's not a prophecy or nothing. And he saying he going to war with somebody about Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah.
It doesn't have anything to do with a prophecy. It has to do with understanding the geography. You know what I'm saying? But yo, can you because I think, just so you know, right? I think me and you would have a interesting conversation. Can you call up earlier next week so we could like continue it? Because we about 3 minutes over the time.
Okay, yeah, because I'm damn, bro. I wish I can like hit you with my number on the side, because I can pinpoint some stuff to you, bro. That we gotta really understand why Trump can't move us and who the real Aboriginal people is on this land right here, bro. With all this activity, you can't go to nowhere in the world and go find me a LeBron James, a Mayweather, a Serena, secure nobody.
That's because we God's chosen people. But what I would say is, if you got any information as far as writings that you want to send it an email to crossthelineradio@gmail.com. But if you want to have the discussion, just call up a little earlier next week. We start the show
like what time, bro? Because man, I got you. Look, like I told you, I was in it heavy, and from what I'm in 18 months, bro. So you can tell I can tell, give you scripture after scripture after scripture after scripture, bro. Precept after precept and all that.
I got you. Just know,
because you can see. You see, I'm on with something. Cause I asked you one more question before you go.
So I'm trying to wrap the show up now, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Damn, bro.
But this is what I need you to do at 10 p.m.
Because I need
brother,
this is why I need you
to just hear. I need you to just hear what I'm saying. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week is when the show starts.
I'm in Springfield, Mass, bro. So you hear me?
10 p.m. is when the show starts.
Nobody been giving me no answers, bro. So this was pushing me away from this Bible, bro, because nobody been able to answer me, bro. Straight up, man.
I got
and that's not good. Y'all can't give a brother, because y'all got in the scriptures and always be ready to give an answer.
I got you.
Prove all things. And nobody's proving nothing. Y'all gonna do more of push.
I got you, brother. All right, we'll talk. Make sure that y'all, you know what I'm saying, tune in to Cross the Line. You know what I'm saying? Please call up earlier. Ryan, I'll keep you on the back burner as long as I want. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, does he? I don't know where they left off at. I know Cap was trying to get his damn his debate ban, but you know what I'm saying? Pay your tithe.